Is it worth it to pay for this masterclass? So I'm referring to the financial masterclass for Black women that is scheduled for this week. It is Get Your Money Right so you can leave that toxic job masterclass for Black women. So I wanted to address this question. I know many of us are watching our money, and so we might be very frugal in terms of what we choose to spend our money on. So, in terms of thinking about is it worth it, I just want to ask you to ask yourself some questions in terms of if it's worth it. So, I want you to think about the quality of your life right now and think about, are you okay with it? Are you okay with continuing to live your life like this? And if you are able to identify what are the issues contributing to your life not going the way it is that you want it to go, if you have identified that your toxic job is the reason that you are not happy in your life, you are absolutely dreading days of your life. That sounds like a soap opera. But anyway, if that is you, then I want you to consider in terms of looking at what are your options and looking at what are you willing to invest so that you can have a different life, because you can have a different life. So yesterday I interviewed my Spelman sister, Kamisha, and she talked about the long-term impacts of toxic jobs. So I invite you to watch that video. I'll put that in the description section as well. But when we think about the quality of our life, as Black women, we've often been told that we got to do everything, we got to handle everything. She even talked about when things were really bad at that toxic job, and I can even say the same for me as a toxic job survivor. When things were really bad, I would lie to myself and say, it's not that bad. You got this. You just got to stick it out. You got to fight, all those other things. But it was really harming me. And so I invite you to take a moment to think about that for yourself. If you are recognizing the job is harming you, then I really want you to think about, is there another way? And sometimes we may not know how to get out. And so I know for me, I didn't know how to get out. So I had to get business coaches. So I invite you to think about this, in terms of the financial masterclass, which again is get your money right so you can get out of that toxic job. Okay. So you can leave that toxic job and you will be good financially because of what we will be teaching you in the masterclass. So I'm partnering with Dr. Roche Brown, who is a financial psychologist, and she actually helped me. So when I was in the middle of trying to get out that toxic job over a year ago, she helped me get my money right so I could leave the toxic job. So I'm partnering with her so that she can help you too. And so when you think about, is it worth it? I invite you to think about your life right now. Is it worth not taking the master class? Ask yourself that. Is it worth not taking the master class? Is it worth continuing to live the life that you're living right now? And when you think about investments and payoffs, so the investment might be monetary investment, money might be tight, but I want you to look like through the curve. I want you to look past this moment and think about how your life really can be if you are able to get out of that toxic job and do well financially. I want you to think about that. So when you think about, is it worth it? My hope is that you think yes, and you say to yourself, yes, it is worth it, because you want a different quality of your life. You don't want to wake up dreading any day of your life. I do lives on Sundays, and I do that because that is healing for me in many ways, because as a toxic job survivor, I'm still healing, but part of my healing is to talk about my healing journey. And that time on Sundays used to be the worst day of the week for me because I knew I had to go back to a toxic job the next day, that Monday. So if that is you, then I invite you to think about, is it worth it? Is it worth having another Sunday and you're dreading the whole day because the next day you have to go back to that toxic job? And when you go back to that toxic job, is it worth it in the sense of who you have to encounter in the workplace? So you may have workplace bullies. I had one workplace bully, but she was a puppet master. So she had other people who were doing her dirty work, right? So as you think about minions, so she had other people doing her dirty work. So I would listen as I was going on my way to work. I would have to like pep talk myself. I would have to pray. I would listen to music. I remember I used to listen to Jill Scott's song about getting ready or something like that. And one of the lyrics of the song, I thought she was talking to me when she said every day I would have to go and look at a monster in the face. And so that's exactly what I was doing at that toxic job. So think about for yourself, is it worth it? Do you want to stop looking monsters in their face when you go to your job? So again, this is your decision in terms of what you want to do for yourself. I'm here just to share with you about options. So the masterclass is get your money right so you can leave that toxic job, okay, and do well financially. So not just go out there and be like, oh, I hope that things work out for me. I'm just going to pray on it. No, no. Okay, pray, yes, but also get the tools that you'll get in the masterclass in terms of coming up with your financial plan so you are able to lead based upon what your timeline is. Also, confronting what your fears are about the toxic job because, leaving the toxic job. Because a lot of times when we think about leaving, there's so many fears that crop up. The fear of how am I going to pay my bills? That's the biggest one. That kept me there much longer than I needed to be there. But that fear, right? So we're going to help you work through that fear by coming up with an actual plan so you can go. Okay. So is that worth it? I think it is. We're also going to talk about your health insurance and retirement, what to do about your benefits. So think about, is that worth it to learn more about what to do about your benefits so you can leave that toxic job so you don't have to look at monsters in the face and dread waking up, dread going to work, cry on your way leaving work, talking about the job so much that everybody that you know knows the key players at your job. Okay, is it worth it? And then we're also going to talk about ways to replace your income. So, in addition to coming up with your financial plan, we need to be very clear about where you're getting that money from. So, we are going to talk about how to replace your income. So, I want to ask you that, is it worth it to be able to go to a class to get all of those things in one class, okay? To get all those things so you can leave your toxic job. So I invite you to think about, is that worth it for you? Okay, is it worth it for you? Even if money is tight, is it worth the investment so that you can get out of that toxic job? Many times when we are in toxic jobs, we can't see a way out. And that's part of what happens because sometimes it can be a form of trauma. And what can happen when it's like a trauma situation, it can have that impact on our brain. So we can think about in these toxic jobs, many times we are being experiencing gaslighting, and then we can start self gaslighting ourselves. And so that is one of the dangers. So when you think about the possible short term and long term impacts on your physical and your mental health. So again, watch that video that I did yesterday with Kamisha, my Spelman sister, where we were talking about the long term impact of toxic jobs. So I want to ask you again, is that worth it? Is it worth your health? Is it worth your physical and psychological well being to stay in an environment that is harming you, particularly when you know there's a way out? You know that there's resources available to help you. The masterclass is one of those resources. So if you want to get out and you are saying, you know what, it's worth the investment, get in the masterclass. So the masterclass is set up in terms of Zoom webinar format because I've heard from many women, many Black women, that these jobs are many times like plantations. I used to say that, but it's amazing how many other Black women can relate to what I'm saying, that they really are like plantations. They try to own you and control you and beat you down and make you feel like your worth, you really don't have any worth, and that you're stuck there. And that if you try to leave, they will try to find you or they'll block you from leaving. So we are reclaiming our power back. We are channeling our inner Harriet because we all have an inner Harriet. We just got to find her. Okay, so we're channeling our inner Harriet. And so Dr. Roche and I are here to help you channel your inner Harriet so that you can get out of that toxic job that is more than likely harming you. Okay, and we're showing you the strategies of what to do. Now, a Black woman asked me also, she said, well, if I go to the masterclass, does that mean I have to sign up for something else? No, you will have everything once you leave. You will have like a package, a gift for you that you will be working on things as a part of the masterclass. So once you leave, you will have your roadmap. So you have your roadmap to the North Star, okay? So think of it in that way. So I want to ask you that. Is that worth it? Is it worth getting that roadmap to your North Star. Is it worth it? Okay. So the masterclass again is November 8th and 9th. So you need to get your ticket ASAP, like right now. Okay. So it's November 8th and 9th, 7 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be 90 minutes in terms of content. So Dr. Roche is going to talk. I'm going to talk, particular in relation to the healing, approaching your fears, coming up with your plans, actually having a plan, getting that information and deciding what you want to do. But again, you will be leaving with all of these things once you leave. There's additional things that you're going to be getting in the masterclass. You don't need to sign up for anything else after the masterclass. So it is worth your money. I just invite you to think about that for yourself because you need to make that decision for yourself. I'm not here to convince you because you need to make this decision for yourself and for your family in terms of what is best for you. So I want you to think about Jill Scott, like I used to think, and I hope that you don't want to see any more monsters, staring monsters in the face when you go to your job. I hope, again, like Jill Scott, that you are living your life like it's golden and that you are working and moving towards getting ready to get out of the toxic job. Many times it's a process. The masterclass, watching my videos, this might be part of your process of getting ready to leave. I just want to say that to you. And then I also want to give a shout out to my hat. So this is an example of ways that I'm able to create a life for myself now that I've left that toxic job. So I'm able to create my schedule. I'm able to work with whom I want to work with. I'm able to buy myself a custom hat. Shout out to Fedora Designs in Atlanta. So I got this custom hat. I love it. Okay. So again, Fedora Designs, check them out as well and get your ticket for the masterclass. Get it today. Okay. Because it's November 8th and 9th and we want you there. Oh, I want to mention this too. So the webinar, the format is going to be Zoom webinar because we don't want people feeling like people are going to find out they're in the masterclass. We don't want people not signing up for the masterclass because they're fearful that their job is going to find out or whatever. Okay. So it's going to be Zoom webinar format. No one will see you on camera. No one will see your name listed. If you have any questions or comments, you can write them in the chat or the Q&A, but you can change your name, okay? So we've done all these safety precautions because we don't want anything to prevent you from getting that roadmap to the North Star, okay? So the masterclass might help you with that. And, some of you might even think, well, I can, look on YouTube about this stuff and I can, do my own Google search. You can do that. You can do that. However, the information that you're getting, is it from two Black clinical psychologists? No. Is it from a Black woman financial psychologist, Dr. O'Shea Brown? No. So all the information I'm sharing with you, is it from a Black woman psychologist, clinical psychologist who works with Black women and is a toxic job survivor? Me? Are you getting that on YouTube, on your own, research, Google? No, you're not going to get all of that on your own. So save yourself some time and some energy. You can get all of the package all together at once, okay? And so we want you there. We want you there. We want to support your healing. We want to support your exit. We want to support your job liberation because you deserve something more. And we want you to be able to live a life that you don't dread any day of your life. Any day, okay? Too much has been paid for us to be here. Our ancestors went through too much for us to be here. I remember Stephanie Perry talking about we deserve extra reparations based upon what they've gone through. So reclaim your freedom back, reclaim your power back, get in the masterclass. Sign up today before it's too late, okay? So November 8th and 9th, the registration link is in the description section. And I want to see you be able to transform and grow and fly away, okay? So you've been in the cocoon. So look, I got my nails done. If you can see, I got the butterflies on there because I love butterflies. So I want you to remember that you are like a butterfly. Right now you're in a cocoon, right? And you got to get out the cocoon because if you don't, it can really hurt you. That's all I got to say, okay? So there's a beautiful life for you, okay? So remember the butterflies, it's a beautiful life for you. So remember that, reclaim your freedom and get the masterclass. Okay, so I'm signing off. Give this video a thumbs up. I don't know what's going on with the noise, but give this video a thumbs up and share this video with at least 2 other Black women. We want all the Black women we can to liberate themselves, okay? So let us help you liberate. So it is worth it. I just invite you to come to that realization for yourself. Okay, take care. Bye.